Every year, people die in water-related accidents. Boating, swimming, and other water incidents account for nearly 5,000 fatalities nationwide. In many cases, rescue and recovery teams are called out to perform the often thankless job of recovering the victims' bodies. Working in difficult and sometimes dangerous situations, these unsung heroes help bring closure for families and loved ones to help them start the grieving process. Dive teams are extremely valuable for this job and can mean the difference between a body recovery and a rescued victim. But sometimes, due to lack of personnel, exhaustion of dive team members, or just plain hazardous conditions, divers cannot do the job and dragging must be commenced. Very little has been written or discussed on the topic of dragging for bodies, and at times the subject seems almost taboo. And until now, little progress has been made in dragging equipment or techniques. Over the past 20-plus years, Minnesota DNR Conservation Officer Brad Schultz and Chisago County Deputy Sheriff Joe Pung have developed and refined dragging equipment and techniques that are extremely effective in recovering drowning victims. While not meant to be the definitive video on recovery operations, we hope the material we present is helpful for rescue and recovery teams in establishing their own dragging procedures. The Chisago County Multi-Boat Recovery System uses a 5-boat unit, back-trolling specialized drag bars to recover the body of the drowning victim. Utilizing this number of boats and drags allows a recovery team to cover an area more quickly and effectively than single-boat dragging operations. Owing to the feelings of the families involved, there are sometimes concerns that the victim's body may be somehow disfigured by the use of drag hooks.
Yeah, actually, we have not had, in all the drownings we've had over the last 26 years that I have been on drags, probably 70, 80 people, we have never once disfigured a single person. Usually we will hook by a piece of clothing, maybe part of the ankle or on the arm, but it's a very small hook, and there's absolutely no disfigurement.
The heart of any dragging system is the drag bar, drag hooks, and rope or line. A properly designed and maintained system can mean the difference between a quick recovery and spending hours doing nothing more than stirring up the lake bottom.
This is our complete bar system that we use for dragging. We use a 1/2-inch solid steel rod that's been bent on the corners, on each corner. Comes up here. This is 4 foot across the bottom of this triangle. It's 2 feet from here to here, and then there's a weld that's done here, and we have a 3-inch ring on here in which we snap our rope onto. On the bottom of our hook of our drag here, we will have 6 washers that are welded on. The washers are split first so we can slide our chain onto that washer, and then they are welded on. We have 6 of them, and this covers well. The reason we have this design with this 1-point contact, it allows the drags to come through the water true. They won't be at an angle interfering with other drags. We also have the middle bar here that's welded to give it extra support and weight, but it also allows us in rocky areas or wooded areas, it'll come and ride right over the rock instead of snagging onto them. Our basic drag bar has positions on here for 6 of our drag hooks. We have a chain that connects to our split washer that's been welded, and we will use a little S hook. This connects to our 12-aught hook here that we use for dragging. We'll close this. And the reason we use these is so that if we snag into a real heavy obstruction, a big log or something, we won't lose our whole drag. So these little S hooks do an excellent job of preventing that.
This system requires the use of 2 1/2-inch spring steel treble hooks. They are available from sporting goods stores or may be ordered directly by government agencies through the manufacturer at the telephone number listed at the end of this video. No extra weight is needed to be attached to the shank of the hook, since the weight of the bar is sufficient to keep the hooks in contact with the bottom. In fact, extra weight would interfere with the effectiveness of this system. The hook points should also be resharpened when they get dull from use.
Okay, the rope that we use in our dragging operation is a 1/2 inch nylon cotton blend. And the reason we use this is it's very easy on the hands. A 1/2 inch is just the right diameter so you can hold it without it really digging into your palm. We secure it tightly with this knot, and we like to use a heavy-duty snap and one that swivels so the drag can be turning without binding or jamming up, and it just snaps right over the ring. And we usually use 50-foot ropes, but in case we need to go longer, we put a loop on the end of the rope, and what that allows us to do is to take an additional rope, if we have to, and snap it onto this rope, and now we have another 50-60 feet that we can use to get down to deeper water.
This recovery device was originally manufactured as the handle for a snow rake, used for clearing heavy snowfalls from roofs. They are commonly available at most hardware and garden supply stores in snowbelt states and can be ordered from any major hardware chain. The snow rake comes supplied with 3 6-foot sections that are snapped together with a spring clamp at each end, giving it a total length of 18 feet. And more sections may be used if greater length is needed for deeper water.
All right, if you notice on the end of this pole, what we've done is we've taken one of our standard treble hooks that we have. We just literally snip one side off clean, take the side so it allows us to do it flat. Put one on each side. We run a stove bolt through it for reinforcement to hold it there. Plus we found a radiator clamp like that helps hold it secure, and it gives you a good probing, and you can feel that you've got good hook power with it.
Here is a list of the minimum dragging equipment recommended for the 5-boat body recovery system. The drag bars, a good supply of Mustad number 3551 12-aught treble hooks, medium weight S hooks, 1/2 inch soft nylon line in 50-foot lengths, heavy-duty swivel snaps, heavy-duty slip joint pliers such as the Channel Lock brand, plenty of sight marker buoys in various sizes and colors, a snagging pole for use in shallow water, and a body bag, blanket, tarp, or other covering that can be used after the victim's body has been recovered.
This is a U.S. government body bag from the Vietnam era. You know, it's got good heavy straps, it's a good solid bag, an easy to handle zipper. What we do is when we make the recovery, we bring the body on board the boat, set it right in the bag, close it off. That way, if we have to go to shore with it, we can. I mean, it gives us the ability, you know, up to 6 people carrying it, but it's a good sturdy bag. We don't have to worry about the embarrassment of a body dropping out of the bag or whatever. And it works well, and it keeps it away from the prying public eye.
Some other helpful equipment includes a GPS unit to help pinpoint and return to a specific location, a graphing depth locator that not only indicates depth, but sometimes can even locate the body, and Sialume chemical light sticks to fasten to marker buoys for nighttime operations. When a call first comes in reporting a water incident, it is crucial to first determine whether or not a rescue is possible. If so, mobilize all necessary EMS resources. Near drowning victims have been resuscitated after over 60 minutes of submersion. So don't assume the victim is dead until you know how long they've been underwater. If there is no possibility of a rescue and a body recovery operation becomes necessary, the most important first step is to obtain a good location from the witnesses at the scene. Only after witness interviews and determination of the site location can a productive dragging operation be commenced. Try to keep your witnesses separate if possible to prevent one witness from influencing the others. As soon as the person indicates where they think it was, the personnel in the boat will drop a buoy. Continue with each witness until you have all the spots marked. It's a good idea to canvass the shoreline to see if anyone else has any helpful information, such as a description of the victim, the clothing they wore, and what their activity was at the time of submersion. Once witness information has been gathered, mark a perimeter around the area, leaving plenty of room for error. When people get excited, they tend to make mistakes, and you don't get a good triangulation of where the victim went in. If possible, it's helpful to know the conditions of the recovery area, such as currents, drop-offs, weed beds, and obstructions. When the perimeter has been established, then determine how you're going to set up your search grid pattern. The wind needs to be taken into account in any dragging operation. It often works best to drag directly with and against the wind rather than cutting across it at angles. That will make it easier for the operator to hold a straight course with the drag boat. It is usually advisable to start on one edge of the perimeter and work your way across. Dragging in both directions will help save time. Dropping smaller buoys at the end of each run can help prevent missing an area or from dragging the same area of bottom time and time again. One of the key points to remember while conducting your recovery operation is the angle of the drag. Strive to have the line at an angle so just the hooks and the bottom part of the drag bar are making contact with the bottom. Avoid letting out too much line. That can cause the bar to run flat across the bottom. With the drag flat on the bottom, it has greater potential of hitting obstructions and snagging under logs and rocks, and would cause the bar to catch too many weeds. Weeds decrease the sensitivity and control had by the person who is holding the line. Also critical to sensitivity is that the dragger should remain standing while dragging, and the rope should never be draped over the bow of the boat. It should come straight to the dragger's ungloved hands. That's right, even a light pair of gloves can cut down how well the dragger can feel the rope and what might be caught on the hooks. This is typical of how boats are configured in a multi-boat dragging operation. 3 boats can also be used in a smaller operation, although with fewer boats it takes longer to cover the same amount of bottom. The boats are lashed together with strong line and bumpers are placed between each one to help cut down on paint scrapes and other damage. The lead boat is in the middle. Since there is a great deal of surface area on 5 boats lashed together, a 75 horsepower motor or larger is required on the lead boat, especially if you're working in current or windy conditions. Even with a large motor, you may have to slip the current to stay on course. The other boats should have their motors in the up position unless they are needed to provide additional maneuvering control in wind or current. There should also be at least one support boat to provide on-water traffic control during the dragging operation. This boat can also help maintain the drag pattern when needed and act as a runner for personnel and supplies. There should be an onshore coordinator to gather and relay information to the drag crew, arrange for food and water, and deal with information dissemination on shore. They can also contact the medical examiner or coroner when the body has been recovered. In the lead boat, the driver is in charge of the search pattern.
Settle them back in.
The drag boss controls the actual dragging operation. Respect the authority of the lead boat driver and the drag boss. Their word is law. In windy or heavy current conditions, the lead boat may not have enough power to hold the course set by the boat operator. In that case, one of the boats on either end of the operation has to run their motor.
Okay, draggers, let's bring them in. We're going to do another pass.
The person in the bow of the lead boat is called the drag boss. He or she is in charge of the drag team and controls when the hooks are dropped and checks to see if the hooks can be freed or if the other hooks have to come up or come down. The drag crew member handles the drag hook for their boat, and the drag crew backup assists the drag crew member and shares drag time. Switch draggers periodically. It's hot, hard, and heavy work. Don't be too macho to tell someone you're tired. Sit down and take a regular water break, and don't forget sunscreen. The drag crew backup may also assist the lead boat operator by providing additional power to maintain the drag pattern or provide depth information. If a drag crew member's hooks get snagged, it is their responsibility to call out "snag" loud and clear. The drag boss will let the lead boat driver know if the boat needs to be stopped or slowed, or any other maneuvers are necessary.
Bring it up now, bring it up.
Everyone has good ideas to share. If you think of something that hasn't been tried but might work, be sure to tell someone about it. But remember, the drag boss is in charge. If you think you've snagged the body, let the drag boss know immediately. When the body is hooked, there is an upward rolling sensation on the line that is difficult to describe until you've experienced it. It won't be a dead weight sensation. The drag boss will have the drag boat driver keep moving so the body won't drift forward under the boats. He or she will also tell the other draggers to get their hooks up and out of the water and stowed on the bow of the boats. The person who has hooked the body needs to keep bringing it in a steady fashion. Don't rush it and don't baby it. The hooks should be firmly attached to the body. As soon as the body surfaces, a firm grip must be maintained on the rope. Do not let go until the drag team leader has a firm hold on the body and it is secured with a line. The lead boat driver keeps the boats moving until the body is secured with a line. Only after a rope is attached to the body should it be lifted into the boat. As soon as the body is recovered, notify dispatch and make note of the time. Once the recovery has been made and the body has been placed into the lead boat and covered or wrapped, you may disengage your boats from the hookup.
And we'll meet back on shore and distribute equipment.
Take your time. You have accomplished what you set out to do for the day. Get the boats apart and ensure that you have arranged for a common point for all the boats to meet so you can retrieve and inventory all your equipment. After the boats, equipment, and crew are back on shore, it is important to check on the condition of the drag crew. Encourage the drag crew to make use of counseling or critical incident stress debriefing services that may be available. No one is totally immune from the psychological effects of a body recovery, especially of a child. Also, create an opportunity for the crew to offer feedback on what went well and what could be improved in your operation. This can help team members vent frustrations in a calm setting and improve future team operations. And conduct combined training sessions for your team and supporting agencies so when the real thing happens, everyone knows what to do.